Well, as we told you earlier, the jury has reached a verdict in Illinois in the case against Timothy Bliefnick. Remember, Timothy Bliefnick is accused of shooting his estranged wife inside of her home last February. Let's get you into court for the reading of that verdict.
And has the jury reached its verdict?
Yeah.
Okay, and if you could hand that paperwork to the bailiff. Give it to the clerk. Would the clerk read the verdicts, please?
We, the jury, find the defendant, Timothy Bliefnick, guilty of home invasion signed by the foreperson and 11 jurors. We, the jury, find the defendant, Timothy Bliefnick, guilty of first-degree murder signed by the foreperson and 11 jurors. We, the jury, find the allegation that during the commission of the offense of first-degree murder, the defendant personally discharged a firearm that approximately caused death to another person was proven, signed by the foreperson and 11 jurors.
All right, thank you, clerk. And then, Ms. Schnock, would you like to have the jury polled?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I thank you for your service. You will need to head back then to the jury room and wait there for just a couple minutes, and I will be in to talk with you shortly thereafter. All right? All rise.
All right, so there it is done. Timothy Bliefnick found guilty on all charges by this jury of 12. And if you notice, the relationship between him and his attorneys throughout this, we were questioning what that relationship was like. Didn't see anything there between the two of them. Generally, as a defense attorney, you'll reach over, pat him on the back, tell him, hey, we're going to fight this in an appeal or something, but nothing there. So that was interesting. All right, let me bring back in my guest, still with me, appellate and trial attorney Matthew Barhoma and celebrity civil attorney Mitra Ahorian. And Matthew, I'll start with you and get your reaction to this verdict. Clearly not a surprise. 4 hours and 20 minutes, not a long time in the biggest scheme of things.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Okay, the motive fits, right? The evidence quite circumstantial, but if you look at the entire, the totality of the circumstances, it really adds up. And I believe that the jury ate that up, right? There is a long history for them to be able to preview. They were able to see that, and I think that they made a decision by the time they got into the jury box.
Yeah, Mitra, there were a lot of blocks for this defense to knock down. You had the crazy searches that made no sense. You had the video of someone on a bike around that time matching a bike that he had. You had the shell casings, which I think sealed the deal as far as I'm concerned, matching from his home. And basically the testimony was it came from the same exact gun. Not much else for this jury to really consider as far as coming back with guilty on all counts.
What seals the deal for me, like you said, is the shell casings and the Google searches. The Google searches are just so specific. It's the crowbar. How do I get in if I locked myself out, so to speak? There's the searches is just so specific that I think when any logical person hears that, even though it is circumstantial, even though we don't have the timestamps, it's just very convincing. Now, couple that with the nature of their relationship and the divorce and everything else, it's kind of like the story fits and makes sense. And Michael, I'm so glad you said that about the relationship between defense counsel and the defendant, because she didn't even look over at him.
No.
I mean, I saw that. That was the first thing I noticed. I was like, whoa, they're not even looking at each other. And she's just like, doesn't care. Let's get through the paperwork. I don't want to make that assumption, but that's kind of the sense that I'm getting right now. I thought it was very strange that she didn't even look over at him.
Yeah, we're looking at it now. There's Matthew. I don't even see just disinterest. I see she does not want to look at him. I think there's disdain. And I'll be honest with you, and as I said, people online noticed this. And they were talking about her feelings about the case. She never seemed fully committed to the idea that he didn't do this. And that is something our viewers picked up, we picked it up, and I'm sure the jury picked it up.
Right, body language says a lot. And let me tell you something, the jury sits in that room, they sit back, they have a good view. They could see a lot of it, right? But even more, and I'm going to embellish a little bit here, but looking at some of the evidence in this case and things that we know about this case, I'm sure they probably had even a difficult relationship, right? I'm sure they had some differences fundamentally about the approach that also kind of materialized. And so you sense these things come out, they come out in body language. And as much as you try to hide it, sometimes the jury could read this stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. Timothy Bliefnick now facing, of course, life in prison. My understanding is sentencing is now set for August 11th. That'll happen at 1:30 Central Time. Of course, we'll bring that to you live here on Court TV.